And welcome back to Hero Power, episode 20. And guys, we have a very special episode for you today. I am joined, as always, by my hosts, Zeroshio.
What is up?
And Versika.
How's it going, guys?
And today, we have two very, very special guests. We are joined by the two hosts of HearthCoach, Dan.
Hey, everybody.
And FRID himself.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, now who are your two special guests?
Exactly. I mean, we are super, super stoked to have you guys on the show this week.
Absolutely.
Well, glad to be here, man. This is fun. It's nice just to show up for a podcast and not have to worry about doing a whole lot other than just being here.
Yeah. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about HearthCoach?
Okay. So, do you want the whole story? Do we go back to the beginning to when this started?
So there was a big bang in the universe, and then HearthCoach was born. Let's go.
Right. Okay.
So FRID was born.
It started with I was listening to a Worthy Opponent podcast one day, and they had a guest on there who had just won their tournament. And as I was listening to this guy, I thought to myself, you know something? I think this dude needs a second job. So I tracked him down and made the proposal for the podcast to him.
He obviously said I do, and everybody was happy.
Yes, he did. He accepted the proposal.
Yeah, Dan had to do some CSI stuff because I didn't have email, I didn't publish Twitter. I mean, I didn't have anything when I won that. It was totally...
He didn't accept friend requests.
So it's fair to say Dan was your first stalker.
He was
Yes, it did take some stalkerish type activity to finally track him down, but I'm glad I persevered and stuck with it.
Well,
this is what can happen when you have a good idea and you stick to it and follow through.
So think about it from my standpoint. I get an email from the hosts of A Worthy Opponent saying, "Hey, there's this guy that wants to talk to you." Like, I don't know anything about it. So I'm like, it can't really hurt. Let's find out what he wants. And then he's like, "Oh, awesome." We get in touch, and he's like, "I have this great idea. I want to do an audio podcast about Hearthstone." And I said, "Wait a minute, what is this guy on? Because Hearthstone is a visual game. There's no way this is going to work." So
did I actually call it a great idea?
I kind of worry a lot.
I had an idea.
Yeah. I worry about things in general, and I raise all the red flags with how this is not going to work, and this is the worst thing ever. But crazily enough, I said, you know what? We should try it. I've always want to be... I have a creative side to me, and this gives me that opportunity. So I thought, I'll learn a thing or two in the way. So let's give this a shot. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, there was already some podcasts going, and I didn't want to do the same podcast everybody else was doing already. So I wanted to try and do something a little different. So when I heard Fred on A Worthy Opponent and was listening to him, I was like, I liked how he was explaining things. He was talking about his deck, and I was really understanding what he was saying and whatnot. So I was like, that's when the idea kind of hit me about the podcast. And I told him it was, think about trying to call like a baseball game or something like that. They do that on the radio and whatnot to some effectiveness. So I figure we could give it a shot, see how it goes. So
yep. And the show, basically, for people that are not familiar with it, is predicated in the premise that I am trying to help Dan to become legend rank through constant coaching of different decks, basically every week, for the most part. So we take a look at popular decks in the meta, and we break them down card by card, and then we coach a few matches. We talk about plays, decisions, why do this, why do that, why are we playing around, and we do it all in an audio format and on a play by play. And Every now and then we'll have a video and a stream, but we are at a core a audio first podcast.
Right.
That's
We'll
very awesome.
Glad it worked out for you guys. Normally, when I come to Patrick and say, "Hey, I've got this great idea," he runs and screams. He goes and shuts himself in his door and won't come out. I'm like, "Wait, I promise, it's a great idea." He's like, "I've heard that before."
That's because he comes and says, "Hey, listen to this great idea. Now, what does it take for you to make it happen?"
No, but about your guys, the reason I wanted to have you guys on the most was I've listened to you guys, and I really love the way your show is. And it kind of is in the same ilk as ours, where we try to show people how to play on the ladder and get an idea of how to run a deck. But better than that was I wanted to have two different shows on. We're the only two shows with past or worthy opponent winners. And myself and FRID. So this is like a worthy opponent, seasonal tournament alumni in here.
It's like a reunion of sorts.
Yes.
Yeah. One of these days we'll have to get all the winners in here. So
Right. Well, I'll have to.
we'll have a big party
idea.
with about 20 of us. Don't worry. Vonnie's can figure out the layout. He's good at that stuff.
So see, it's spread.
You can do that, right?
Now I've got Zeroshio coming to Patrick saying, "Hey, I've got this great idea. What's it going to take?"
I want you guys to know I'm the one tonight doing the Versika disapproving head nod.
No, but for all our viewers out there and listeners, if you want to reach HearthCoach, we have their information in our show notes. Their website's hearthcoach.net, and all their Twitter information's in the show notes at heropowerhs.com. So take a look at that and check them out. Definitely, they're an awesome podcast.
Yeah. So if I can plug a couple of things about the website, because
Please.
which were almost accidents. Well, one was planned, so I'll let Dan talk about that in a second. But one of the things was accidental. What happened was people started writing in saying, "Hey, I'm a big fan. I listened to your show, and I've reached legend thanks to you." And they would send us the screenshot with, "Hey, legend rank, and you're awesome, blah, blah, blah." So we started a whole section of the website called the Hall of Legends, where we feature people that have sent us their legend story. And we have 12 to this point that have reached legend and partially attributed to the show. So that's pretty awesome.
I'm working on being 13. I'm trying.
I'm hoping I'm hoping I can get on my own Hall of Legends one day.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Hall of Legends a listener idea?
No,
Am I wrong on that?
No, it was they just started trickling in, and
okay.
By the way, if you do reach legend and you send in your story, you get to be a guest on a show of ours.
If you want, yes.
If you want.
Not mandatory, it's an option.
Yeah. So the one I was thinking, Dan, that you came up with was the "Yeah, That Happened," which is another one of our sections.
Yeah, that I forget. Oh, I'm trying to remember the first, because I put up the first one. And I should remember this, and I don't. What the first one was, I had something crazy happen with a warlock or something, and I was like, "Oh, this is nuts!" And I took a screenshot of it because I couldn't believe it. So I was like, "Yeah, that happened."
Well, that's a great idea. I like that.
Like,
just to kind of help you guys plug one more thing, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys recently hit a milestone Patreon goal
to
start hosting some tournaments.
Yeah, so
well, that happened quick.
I know, I was part of that.
I know. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You and everybody else. That was tremendous.
We were thinking about doing that for a while, but we waited a whole year. So we have 52 episodes without missing a single week of original content, and then we said, well, maybe it's time to give this a shot. And in my mind, I came up with all these goals that I thought, they're so lofty. I mean, it's going to take like a year or maybe two to reach these goals, right? And we released the campaign, and in the first week, we hit all the goals.
I think you hit the tournament goal your first goal was hitting 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then your tournament goal was like only maybe 3 days.
Yeah, it was completely unexpected, and now we're like, okay, now we.
Now what do we do?
We need to get these tournaments going and do all this stuff. So
Yeah. So now we're
See,
we're
you all
glad
need an Avantis. That's what you need. You need an Avantis to dump all this work on.
Frid's been kind of my Avantis. Because when we first started, I was like, "Hey, don't worry, I'll handle everything, man. You don't have to do nothing. Just show up. I'll record stuff." And yeah, it's kind of evolved to a little bit different. Frid does a whole lot more than that right now. Our show would be half of what it is without all the effort and the good work that because he nails down our guests. He took care of the Patreon thing, and I could go on and on. So we work really well together all the way around, especially with the podcast. I think you can hear how well it's evolved over the time and how well we've gotten better at just calling the games as we've gone on.
Yeah.
And that's my random thought. I promised you guys earlier the ADD guy would try and not derail the show into odd tangents, but I didn't promise it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, so
that's okay. If you hadn't derailed it, we would.
Absolutely.
That's my job.
Yep. So at HearthCoach.net, you could find all this information. Our Patreon is HearthCoach, and Twitter is HearthCoach. We also recently, based on a patron suggestion, added a page called the Battle Tag Exchange. Some of our listeners were saying we have trouble finding, like for the spectate, I don't have any friends in game. So now you have a place where you can go. I saw Zerogio that you did post it. So you can go there and then you can cross-check. Is it somebody from here? Okay, then it's a HearthCoach person, so we're good because I get all kinds of random friend requests.
Yeah. You don't get so much friend requests though.
Depends on how the game went and
what deck you're playing.
The Battle Tag Exchange is the newest thing we put up there, and that's been pretty neat because I just kind of threw up a little something about myself. It's just like a sample of what people could put up, and it's really neat to go on there and just look at what people are posting with their battle tag, and just where people are and what they're doing and whatnot. So I found that to be really neat. I wasn't expecting it like that, but that's really cool. It's like a little more of added community.
Yeah, I noticed that too. You started it that way, and everybody kind of put a little short bio, 2-line bio of themselves, where they're from, what they do for a living, and that's kind of neat.
And it's not mandatory. If you don't want to put up your bio or anything, you don't have to do that. If you just want to throw your battle tag up there, feel free. I know some people, don't necessarily want to feel like writing anything about themselves, so that's cool. That's purely an optional thing, but it's been really neat to see.
That's really cool. I'm glad to see it's evolving well, and you guys are still doing well. All right, tonight's Hero Power is partnered with Viforce Gaming. So, Versika, why don't you tell us a little bit about Viforce?
Well, we'll get to this a little bit later in the show, but for right now, I just wanted to say I'm all about experiments. I'm all about lists. I'm all about going out and comparing and contrasting. That's sort of my thing. So I decided this week that I was going to put Viforce Gaming's website to the test. So I've actually been looking at their computer, the Momentum, for myself. As you guys are well aware, my computer is aging, and we kind of made lots of jokes about it. So, I'm looking at it, I'm just like, all right, so this is what I've got. So what can I get for this price? So I actually did some research, and we'll talk about that later on in the show, but I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised. But check them out. It's www.viforcegaming.com. Go to their products page. It lists their top 3 machines and their specs and what you can expect with them. So go check it out, but wait till after the show.
Yeah, that's Viforce, VIFORCE gaming.com. All right, so we got a listener email this week that we're going to talk about real quick. It says, hello, heroes. I love the show. Keep up the good work. I have a few questions that I hope you have time to work in to tonight's show with FRID. First, FRID. Do you offer Hearthstone coaching as a service? And if so, how much do you charge?
Okay, so
funny you should say that.
Yeah. this is something that I had also been asked before, and I was telling Dan, I don't want this to become a job because then it's the grind or whatnot.
You already have a
Um,
job. Well, I gave
well,
you your second job already, so I guess you don't need a third job.
yeah, yeah. I had a second job. I don't do
Well, that's
anymore, but
right.
I
That's
do a
right.
podcast. I was teaching part time at Georgia State. Anyway, the what I've come up with as a compromise and to support the Patreon is um, there are three ways that you can get coaching, and it's by contributing to the Patreon. So we have them as ranks of the game, the levels. So at Legend rank, which is the highest rank, you get an hour of coaching with me a month, and I will record it and then kind of produce a video for you. And if you agree, we'll post it on the Patreon or YouTube, or just for you. That's fine too. Um, I do a pre-assessment that to know what you're trying to get out of the coaching and whatnot. So that's a guaranteed. Then at level 5, I think it is rank 5, we have a quarterly hour of coaching. It's just coaching, none of the video production or any of that. And then I think it's, I should know this by heart. One of the lower levels, 15 or maybe
20.
even
I
20.
think it was a 20 for quarterly.
Yeah, there's a quarterly. One patron will get selected and will get coaching once a quarter. So instead of doing it as you pay me an hour, we're trying to do it through the show, and you get some of the other perks, including like participating in our tournaments. You may become a friend of the show. That's another page. You get a shout out. So different things. So that's how I'm doing it, and that way, the legend rank. There's only three openings for that. One's already taken because again, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be all booked up and having coaching every day because that would be too much. So that's how you can do it.
Awesome. And what's the link to your Patreon?
So it'll be patreon.com/HearthCoach.
And I put that in the show notes, so that will be in the show notes on HeroPowerHS.com.
Awesome. All right. Second, Avantes, what program do you use to record the show and edit for YouTube? Okay. So I use I actually use a program called XSplit to do the recording of the show, and it works sort of like Photoshop, where you can just layer your different art assets on the screen to create it how you want it to look, and it can attach or it can connect to any of the live streaming services. But it is a paid service. It's not much. It's like $40 a year for the service. There is a free version that I recommend called Open Broadcast, or OBS for short. It's completely free to use, and it works very similar. And it's, again, super easy. Check it out. As far as my editing, I actually do all of my editing in Final Cut Pro on my Mac. So I have my PC, which I do my recording and everything on, and then I do all my editing on my Mac. So, all right. Third, Zeroshio, are there any plans to offer fireside gatherings on any other day than Sundays? I can't make Sundays, but I would love to get together and play with other local Hearthstone junkies.
Okay, so I don't do the fireside gatherings.
You show
That's a
up.
Blizzard. That's a Blizzard thing.
Well, yeah, but we do have some local fireside gatherings in the Knoxville, Tennessee area on Sundays. I do know that there's a Facebook group for the Chattanooga Hearthstone players, and you can look up Chattanooga Hearthstone, and they do organize some fireside gatherings in northern Georgia. That's very recent. They just had one so far. But as for the ones in Knoxville, we only have the venue for Sundays. We are looking at possibly expanding that with our partnership with Viforce Gaming. But that is something that's down the line. We don't have any immediate works on that.
Yeah.
I wish I had an answer for you.
Yeah,
but
the issue is the venue that we use is only available the last Sunday of the month, which is why we do it on those days. So,
Wasn't there one in the Tri-Cities recently?
there was one recently
Johnson City?
in Johnson City. I don't know all the information on that one, but I'm sure if you Google it, you could probably find a little more. All right, and lastly, Versika, I enjoy your insights in your blogs, and your explanations on the show are very candid but informed. Have you considered trying to cast professionally? Keep up the good work, guys. Sam.
Okay. No, not really. And mostly, I have a southern draw. It's not highly sought after in the professional casting business. Also, this is something where you kind of have to know someone or be in the right place at the right time when the right person is looking. It's very hard to get into that business. I have a full-time job that supports my family, so it would be really hard for me to put in the search effort really to even get started. So while I think that's kind of all of our goals, I mean, we would all like to be able to cast professionally. I think I know that I certainly would.
Sure, that'd be nice.
It's not something that's just realistic for the average everyday Joe, unless you like. I mean, there are people that like into it. There are people that earn it. Everyone that gets there is there for a reason. So if somebody likes what we do, you get noticed. And so if someone does, I wouldn't turn it down, but it's not something that I'm actively seeking or trying to do.
All right, thank you for the email, Sam. We also got an iTunes review this week. It's titled "One of the Best Hearthstone Podcasts, 5 stars" by Concealed. And he says, Hero Power is one of a few pieces of Hearthstone-related content I consume religiously. It features interesting decks that run the entire range of competitive viability, from Lock and Load Hunter to Secret Paladin. If you enjoy watching competitive decks, there's something here for you. If you enjoy watching Day 9's Decktaculars, there's something here for you too. It's just a good combination of education and fun. Mostly the hosts have great chemistry and seem to genuinely enjoy each other every podcast they put out. It's just really fun to watch them. No matter what sort of Hearthstone player / viewer you are, you owe it to yourself to check this podcast out. Thank you, Concealed. We very much appreciate that. Guys, as we say every week, please send us emails, send us reviews. We love to hear from the community.
Yeah, aren't those great?
Yeah, they sure are. When we get them.
Yeah, we love to hear from the community, that's for sure.
I know if I'm starting to feel down or something, I just know I go pull up the iTunes reviews and go, okay, yeah, life ain't
So, all right, guys, that means it's time to get into our news and discussions for the week. And boy, what a week it was.
Wow.
Since,
was there news?
Since we joined you last Wednesday night, we've had an announcement of an expansion, and the whispers were heard as Whispers of the Old Gods was announced this past Friday. So, Dan, Fred, why don't you guys give us your initial thoughts on Whispers of the Old Gods?
Well, Ben Brode certainly looked awfully excited about it.
Yeah, that was a sweet cloak.
That was a sweet cloak.
Yes, that was. You had a little trouble getting it on there at first, but yeah, no, that was nice. From what I've seen, this is neat because we don't usually do this. From what I've seen with them coming out, I like the idea, the whole Cthulhu deck. There's going to be 3 others. I'm wondering what other 3 types of decks we're going to be seeing, like the Cthulhu thing with all of the cards. I imagine there'll probably be 3 other similar type decks, I imagine. Would be my guess. I don't know. That's all my crystal ball showing me at the moment. But I like what I saw.
Fred, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like they're moving in this direction of cards like Reno Jackson, Grim Patron, Cthulhu, that you try to build a whole thing that'll become a completely new deck that we haven't seen before necessarily, based on that, like a whole archetype, like the Reno decks or even some of the Elise stuff that we've seen. So I like that idea because it can bring some versatility that is much needed because we've been playing with these same cards for so long. And it's not just the new; it's the things that are going to be removed and the things that are going to be nerfed. That's what I'm most interested in finding out.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting times.
Yes, it is. Zeroshio.
I'm going to mirror what Fred says here. Basically, it looks like they're getting away from your kind of cookie cutter deck types of just mid range aggro, the things that you can change up the cards for the most part, but they're pretty much the same decks. To card defining decks. Reno Jackson defined an archetype. Elise Starseeker defined an archetype, and Cthulhu is going to define an archetype. I do know they have mentioned that they're not going. The other three old gods are not going to have all the supporting cards that Cthulhu have, but I'm sure they're going to have some kind of mechanic to build a deck around, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. As long as there's enough versatility and it doesn't end up being one Cthulhu deck to rule all Cthulhu decks.
And I think they're going to fix that by having a specific Cthulhu support card per class. So far, they've shown two in two different classes. So I think you'll be able to make a Cthulhu deck for every single class, or at least a majority of them.
Yeah, I'm optimistic too, but that'd be my only concern.
It's good that you're optimistic because not everybody is. Versika, what are your thoughts?
Hey, I am optimistic on this. I think he's referring to a blog post that I wrote earlier today. No, I'm really excited. I'm excited about the new cards. I think it was exciting to see a couple of the cards revealed I feel are going to be more powerful in wild format than standard format. So I think this is a good indication that Blizzard is going to actively support wild format as well as standard. And that makes me happy because I do want to see both formats thrive and be successful. So I'm super excited about the set. I'm already theory crafting, and I know a lot of people that's not a popular thing, but it's got to blend in with the classic and the basic cards anyway. So why not theory craft on some of that stuff? Yeah, some other cards may come down the line that changes some of that, but that's part of the fun. It's adapting and changing and the variety. And I'm super stoked about it. I'm also glad that they're using the opportunity. And I know this isn't a popular thought either. Late March, early May release. I like that they're taking their time to release it and build excitement about it, and create that creativity and get people thinking about what they're going to do when it hits.
Save your gold, everybody.
Yeah, the one thing I'm concerned with that release is we're looking at about 6-7 weeks ish. With the number of cards they have, 134, and the possible 6-7 weeks, we should be seeing 2 to 3 cards released a day, and so far we're only seeing about 1 a day. So I'm hoping they start ramping that up a little bit.
Didn't that how it kind of went last time? Didn't they kind of dribble out and then it was like, bam, here they all are?
Yeah, they dumped them all like in the last few days.
Yeah, they officially released like 1 a day, but then you end up having about two more each day leaks. So you actually end up having about 3 for TGT a day released through different medias. I mean, sometimes you had to search.
Yeah, didn't they give those out to people to release though?
Yeah, and they're doing the same thing. I believe Disguised Toast released one of them.
Hey, Blizzard.
That's right.
We don't usually do card stuff, but hey, we'll happily reveal a card for you guys.
Yeah.
We'll do it on video and everything. We'll do it up right.
Wouldn't it be exciting, though, to have some cards that we don't know are coming so that when you open those packs, you see that card for the first time and it's actually, in those 5 cards, you're just like, whoa. Okay, so I've seen a couple of cards that can work with, and day one you're opening cards that you didn't expect to have, and suddenly all your theory crafting is out the window, and you're having to think of something else.
I disagree with you and agree with you at the same time. I don't think they should release the set without letting you see all the cards, but I would love it if they waited for a full release the day before, put out all the cards.
Well,
that's kind of what Magic the Gathering used to do. They would put out a full list of cards, and then in the most recent Scryer Inquest, and then the next month it would all come out.
You peeked at your Christmas presents as a kid, didn't you?
No, we just opened them all on Christmas Eve.
Oh, all right. So if you guys want more information about the expansion, Whispers of the Old Gods, you can find it at www.oldgods.com. It is currently slated for a late April or possibly even an early May release. So we don't have an official date nailed down yet, but we'll find out shortly. All right.
But we did get something a little early.
Yeah.
It was the new patch, the patch 4.2.0, or for us in America that had the botched 4.2.0, we got 0.12051.
Oh,
Because if you notice, Europe doesn't have the extension. Ours does, because the America's release had a little glitch in it.
yeah, they always do that to me, and I have trouble getting into the freaking game right when we're getting ready to record. And I'm like, oh great, this is happening, isn't it? And Fred starts getting these panic texts from me.
Yeah, we have some really neat things in this patch. Obviously, the big one is you can pre-purchase Whispers of Old God, which is actually what didn't come over to the Americas right away, and they had to kind of hot fix it. They've opened up 18 deck slots, and we'll talk more details of these in just a second. They made some improvement to the collection manager, which I'm really excited about, and they've kind of made some changes to get ready for the wild and standard change that's coming. And then they put in a new hero skin, Liadrin, which is the new paladin. That's really exciting. And they have the new card backs. So, Vonnies, if you want to kick us off, we can start discussing top down.
Yeah, so who besides me has already pre-purchased their 50 packs?
I'll be doing it Friday when I get paid.
Payday.
Payday Friday.
Yeah, so like Dan said a minute ago, start saving your gold. So I've got 3,000 gold saved up, and I just bought my 50 packs. So I've got at least 80 packs to open on launch day, maybe more depending on how many dailies I can grind out between now and then. But it's a great deal, guys. 50 packs for $50. It's really hard to find Hearthstone packs at $1 a pack anywhere. So if you have the funds available, jump on it. I highly recommend it.
Yep, that's all. As far as like buying cards, that's all I ever do is I'll buy the pre-purchase, and that's all I spend on cards.
Yeah.
And then just do it and grind out gold and stuff. And I keep a complete enough collection. I don't have all the cards, but I got all the necessary cards.
There you go. And so we also got the 9 additional deck slots we've been clamoring for.
9 additional deck slots.
However, not everybody was really happy about the way they went about it.
What?
No, they changed this. This is a mess.
Really?
There are a lot of people that were upset about this.
Yeah.
So, basically, you gain access to 9 additional deck slots by unlocking all 9 Hearthstone heroes, bringing your total of number of deck slots to 18. What they didn't tell you was that to get your 9 additional deck slots, you have to go in and delete your 9 basic decks that you already had, basically. So really, they didn't unlock additional slots. They just kind of tweaked it for the slots we already had.
Yeah,
Well,
and this is...
Go ahead, Versika.
Well, they didn't add slots. They unlocked slots that had previously been locked out. But this was something that we had talked about before. You know, when we were talking about why not give us extra deck slots, we were just like, we've got these basic slots over here that no one ever uses. Why not just let us delete those once we're past the beginner phase, and let us modify those decks? Even if it was just allowing us to modify them in the classes that they were, that would give us daily decks over here. And then we've got our ladder decks or our fun decks over on this side. So, if you've already unlocked everything and you're already set, this is fun. This is just exactly what we really asked for. If you're a newer player, though, having to work through each individual hero until you get all 9 heroes done, and then you get the extra 9 deck slots. That's a little bit.
Well,
I don't think it was the best way to do it.
there's something about that I actually found out with the help of Espo on yesterday's show of Legend of the Innkeeper. Plug. When you first start and you have your first character mage, when you unlock that mage, you only get 1 deck slot, not 1 additional deck slot, 1 deck slot. And every class that you unlock, you get an additional deck slot until you get to 9. Then once you've done all 9, then the additional 9 unlock, which is a little different than before. So you can actually have only 1 deck slot if you've only ever worked on mage. But it's not hard to unlock those classes, so it won't take you very long. You pretty much just have to play a game against them.
If you like the game, you're going to play through and get all the heroes anyway. So I don't know. Yeah. It's not that big of a deal. It's crazy with coding. I only know enough about that stuff to be dangerous. So now, what it takes to actually free that stuff up and make it functional, Blizzard functional, because they weren't going to turn this loose to us until it worked perfectly. Right. So,
well, Riv in our chat room, he brought up something that I actually had an issue yesterday. I have an alternate account, and I had actually already unlocked. I'd actually unlocked 3 heroes. So, having unlocked the 3 heroes before this change went into effect, when I logged into mine, it looked exactly like it did before. I had my 9 deck slots over, then I had my 3 heroes that I'd unlocked, and then it showed the spots for the other heroes. So I didn't really get to see what Zeroshio was talking about, because I guess if you'd already unlocked more than 1 hero, your account was almost grandfathered in the old way. So
and what it is Espo actually live on the show created an account and went through the process like he was from scratch. And every class he got an additional deck slot, not 9 plus, but like 1, 2, 3 up to 9, and then all 18 opened up once he had them all unlocked. Now, going into our next piece, a lot of people were really upset because they can't be able to switch over to those basic decks, because some of the newer players still use those basic decks. They made an improvement to the collection manager by adding deck recipes. And every time you create a deck, you'll get 4 options. There's 3 different decks that are just cookie cutter decks that you can apply, and if you're missing any cards, it'll help you fill in with what you have in your collection, and then you can do a custom. The first option is always basic. Okay. So those basic decks are still there. You just can create them.
Okay. So that sounds good to me.
So the world is not ending.
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds like first world problems to me.
You're a new player. When you see those other 2, it'll say you have 0 out of the cards. It'll say you haven't opened any packs. So then well, I'll just do the basic because that's all I can do here. But we're so used to having everything that it's hard for us to think like, okay, what about I'm starting from scratch?
Yeah.
How do I progress? So it probably won't feel as bad if you're just brand new to the game. It actually would be overwhelming to see like 18 deck slots. You'd be like, when am I ever going to need this for?
Right.
When you're just starting out.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
It's like when you had your Pentium 75 with, 400 megs of memory. You're like, this will last forever.
That brand new 10 megabyte hard drive, I'll never fill that up.
I remember saying that if they ever gave us 18 deck slots, I'd have those filled in a day, and I still haven't made my 10th deck.
Yeah, it's probably.
I had mine filled out before.
Of course
it was 2
you
hours
did.
old.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
I made my 10th deck Tuesday for the show.
If Rasika was probably tweeting at Play Hearthstone, "Hey, we need 36 deck slots. This isn't enough."
Somebody,
but I will.
You can find that tweet out there. Somebody sent that.
I mean, I think there's one thing that Blizzard has stressed about this game is 2 things. Number one, they really care about that new player experience. They don't want to make it intimidating. It has to be accessible. And the game itself it's a cell phone game. for all intents and purposes. They want it to be mobile, that you can play on your phone, and all this complexity. You're already talking about how it can be a little overwhelming, where okay, new deck, now I have these choices of recipes or custom, and what am I supposed to do here? Hopefully if I'm brand new, I can see that I should just stick to the basic side and just do that.
Well,
So
I'll tell you now, if they can actually just keep adding a page and adding another arrow, if they just added a purchasable $8.99, $1 a slot for a page, they'd sell them.
Oh yeah.
I
wouldn't buy
imagine
'em,
it's
but they'd
not
sell
so
'em.
much as wanting to have them to sell as incorporating whatever the code would take to have that there
Yeah.
and all work well,
And
just
yeah,
to generate some more income that they really don't need.
And we've
And
talked about it before on this show. It's not so much the coding, because the coding for another page on a client for your PC is not hard. It's incorporating and making it not cumbersome for mobile devices and phones. That's really been there. They want to be able to have everything functional on a phone or a computer or a tablet, and you can play on any media and it doesn't matter. And that kind of brings us to the next bit of piece they put in here. Obviously, they're preparing for the standard and wild format. That's
hang on a second, Zeroshi. I want to go back just a second.
Okay.
AC in chat pointed out that the decks on the far left are actually called classic decks, not basic decks, and they do actually include some legendaries that are class specific. However, one of the improvements to the collection manager is if you want to make that deck and it builds it for you and shows it in your deck list, if you don't have the card, it'll be grayed out. And you can actually right-click on that, and it will then suggest cards to replace for that.
I misread it. And again, I have the whole collection, so it's hard for me to tell whether it's basic or not. So I appreciate you, AC, for pointing that out to me.
If that card is grayed out and you select it, it pulls it over into like a side menu. It shows you the card that was grayed out and what it does. And then it gives you what it feels like are the two best substitutes for that card and allows you to click on that card, and it immediately puts that card into your deck.
Yep. Yeah, it's really pretty cool. Okay, now you can move on, Zeroshio.
Oh, hey, I won't interrupt one more time, real quick.
Yeah.
On Frid's point about it being a step by step and not being overwhelming, I wanted to also, for like people like myself, having that step by step and not having a ton of things to look at and figure out right away is so super helpful and important.
I'm the same way.
If there's too much and it's too overwhelming, I can't process it and I'll just get frustrated and forget this. There's a million other games. So, so having that especially for new people and new people like myself, who there are a lot of out there, it's super, super helpful. That's all.
Going on to the next point. Obviously, they went over the new format for Standard and Wild. It's more UI stuff. There's not really anything changed. You can now get a new hero portrait, and you don't have to pay the $9.99.
Grumble.
Oh my gosh.
Grumble.
You can get Lady Liadrin as the new paladin.
It's got me really close to installing WoW on my computer again.
Grumble. That's why I'm grumbling, because that's what I had to do, and I had to fill 30 gigs of my hard drive just to get this portrait.
Okay, let's say how you get the portrait first. You have to level a character to level 20. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a level 19, all you have to do is go from 19 to 20.
I don't know anyone who did that.
Yeah. I went from level 1 because I didn't have anything that was higher, and my wife helped me out. I did it during the Legend of the Innkeeper podcast, so it took me about an hour and a half while I was watching them. The thing that's really got a few people upset is the fact that they're pushing this for multiple medias, phone, tablets, and PCs. There are quite a few people that strictly play this game on a phone and tablet and don't even own a PC.
Yep.
So they
Interesting.
won't even get this as an option. And Blizzard has stated that this will not go up for sale in a future time. It is going to keep on this promotion indefinitely. So, what do you guys think of that? Avantis?
I don't think you should ever eliminate or make inaccessible a feature to a large portion of your player base.
Well, I guess I'll jump in.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm trying not to.
I think they have done this though with other things. There's card backs that are restricted to China. There are card backs that are if you buy a BlizzCon ticket. There's a Tespa card back. There's card backs that you have Samsung, some kind of promotional thing. I think it's in their right to promote this the way they want to. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business and they want people to try out WoW. Like me, I'm thinking about it. I've never played a game of WoW ever, so I may just, for the sake of this, install it and try it, and maybe I get into it. I don't know. But in the point about you not having a PC, well, maybe you have a friend. I don't know. You will find a solution, I'm sure.
We do have one person in our group, in the Legend of Innkeeper podcast group that I'm in. They don't have a PC, and they strictly play on tablet and their phone. So, I mean, they're restricted. But your point is, I mean, they've done this before with certain type of phones that you could maybe get an emulator and do it with, or buying with Amazon coins or Tespa, different organizations that not everybody has access to. This isn't uncommon, not just for Blizzard, but for any media, any game.
I think that if it was a legendary like Cthulhu, you can only do it this way. Okay, that would be a problem. Like you can't give something that breaks the game or gives you an advantage to only, or like a spell that you can only get this way. But some kind of cosmetic thing that it's nice to have but doesn't really affect it. It doesn't bother me at least. But
yeah, your thoughts, Dan?
Frid just kind of made a point I was going to get into. I understand people's frustration, but you don't have to spend any money to get it, ultimately. You just need to find access to somebody with WoW on their computer, and it doesn't affect gameplay. So, ultimately, it's just a picture. So, while I understand people would want it and it kind of sucks, I mean, I haven't gotten any of them. I don't know. I'm only right now even just thinking about putting it back on my computer just to maybe get the free card back. And only because literally me and the girlfriend have been talking lately about reinstalling WoW and playing some for laughs, because we're getting to a place where we could actually maybe do that. But now I understand people's frustration, but I don't know. I'm not hung up about it.
Your thoughts, Rasika? The many hours you put into this?
Yeah, I know, right? So I was one of the ones lucky enough. I had a level 19 twink I used to use for Battlegrounds that I just popped right up to 20. Actually, it took me longer because I found people to PvP while I was doing it. Okay, so let's look at this for what it really is. WoW subscription numbers are down. This is Blizzard's way of saying, hey, come back and try WoW. We've made changes. See what you think. I understand that that's what you're doing, and I get it. Paladin is not my first class, so it doesn't upset me as much, and it wouldn't have upsetted me as much if I wasn't willing to do it. If it had been Shaman, I think I would have been a little more upset with it. Well, it's because it is a cosmetic, and if that's my class that I like to play, and this is the only way to get an alternate portrait for the class that I like to play, and it's locking me out for that, for a marketing ploy, then yeah, I would be a little bit more upset with it. I think a better way to do it would have been, okay, for the next 6 to 9 months, the only way you can get this portrait is through leveling a character to 20 in WoW. Then, after that time frame is over, it'll be available for purchase at the same price as the other portraits. So people that want it, and they want it now, they would go ahead and level that character to 20, probably try out WoW again. But then 9 months down the road, yeah, you had to wait 9 months, but now you can pay your $10 and get your paladin portrait that's different than Uther. So you're not locking people out. And yes, it's cosmetic, but she really is. It's well done. The voice acting is well done. They did a good job with her voiceover.
I love the hero power.
Yeah, just that portrait is better than the Uther portrait.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I can
Paladin
see why
is
people would be upset.
Paladin is my first character. That's the first one I got to 500, and I've played the most.
Mine too.
Are you telling me that you don't want to hear "well met" anymore as a greetings?
I'm so tired of well met. So many paladins.
No, I'm doing the head shake. It's contagious for Zika.
So many paladins. And
There's a lot of it.
This month on the ladder, it's like every 2 out of every 3 paladins I run across is golden. I'm like, I know how you got that. I know how you got that.
Going on with the patch, they localized Hearthstone in Thai, which is the first time they've done any of their franchises in Thai, if I'm not mistaken. And Hearthstone is now available in 14 different languages. That's just crazy. Yep. And then my favorite thing is the card backs. They added in the Hogger card back for next season, which I'm going to take a moment and say I called that this expansion would either have a Hogger in it or something from the old world. This well before the leaks happened. So I knew Hogger was going to be part of this expansion. Just saying, called it. You know, ninjas versus pirates all over again.
The crystal ball was working well that day.
And
coming in crystal clear.
The Eye of Cthulhu card back. We have the link in the show notes. This patch note. This is the most creepy and cute card back I've ever seen in my life. You get this by pre-purchasing the Whispers of the Old God package, and then there's the Overwatch Origins Edition.
Oh, wait, back. Are you telling me the only way to get that card back is if you spend money and buy a pre-release package?
Yes.
That's correct.
Which
both of them.
I will not be acquiring.
I will be acquiring both of them. But that's just me. I love them. So
yeah,
that's pretty much the patch notes. A lot has happened this week, guys. We've said it once before. Including right after the big announcements, we got into the 2016 Winter Championships, and I know you guys watched this for Sika and Avantis. Did you guys watch this tournament this weekend, Dan and Fred?
I caught the beginning of it when I was home sick Friday, but I went downhill and I didn't do much of anything after Friday over the weekend. So who ultimately won?
Hey, you want to give us a recap of that, Avantis?
Sure. So we had we've touched on all the players that were going to be competing in the event on a past show.
Except for
Nostum, who ended up replacing
Fibonacci.
Oh, amazing!
And
for an alternate seat.
Which, by the way, he was beaten by Fibonacci to get into the tournament, but they didn't just pick him. After Fibonacci couldn't get his travel worked into the country, they actually had another tournament offline, allowing those players in that same rank as Nostum to
that was
compete
4 of them
for that seat.
Those 4 people that were eliminated in the same round.
Yep.
Yeah. So the finals came down to Nostum and Amnesiac, who plays for Team Archon. And if you guys don't know who Amnesiac is, he is a 15-year-old Hearthstone player, and he is incredible to watch.
And not only is he 15 years old, he has been with Team Archon since he was 14. He's been with them for a year. That's just unheard of for not only a 14-year-old to get on a professional gaming team, but to be able to have such a growth from joining a team and 1 year later, I don't care if you're 20 in your 20s or 30s, to have that kind of progression in 1 year. Some of your famous players like Purple and even even Firebat took some time to have that growth.
Mm-hmm.
But Amnesiac just is a prodigy.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best finals matches that I've watched in a long time, and
Yes.
Amnesiac ended up winning it all, but becoming the actually securing the first seat at BlizzCon. So Fred, what were your thoughts of the tournament overall?
So I watched quite a bit of it. I like to put it on the TV actually. So I have like a Apple TV, and with my iPad or iPhone, I just send it over there and watch it. And I thought the casting was really good all around. We had
Yes.
Akora was there. She's been a
Mhm.
guest of our show before, so shout out to her. She did a great job. And
Yep.
of course, some of the other casters that are staples like Froda and Reynat always do a good job. I thought the production was really good. Some of the stories that they were trying to tell, and with the interviews that they did on the players. And then for two of them, Amnesiac and Chess Dude, they're actually under 18 or 21 or whatever the cutoff
They're under
is.
18. Yep.
So they had to have their parents. So
Yeah.
Mom Nishiak became a thing, and Chess Dad.
Chess
Yep.
Dad. Hashtag Chess Dad.
And Chess,
I want to
Chess Dad-
touch on
Chess
Chess Dad
was
just a
super
second.
funny, yeah.
He was very, at the beginning they did an interview with him, and he was very, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy my son's here. When we're done, we're going back to school. And he was just, this is a game. And every round he progressed. They talked to him a little more, and it became, we're really happy how well he's doing. We'll have to go home and we'll celebrate, but he's going back to school. And then the next round, well, we're gonna go and we're gonna discuss how this has affected his life, but ultimately the most important thing is school. And now I will tell you this: Chess Dad stuck to his guns, and school was obviously the most important thing, which is good.
Yeah.
You don't want. I will say this to anybody trying to get in a professional sport or anything: do not put your eggs all in one basket, because if you break your leg or you break your mouse finger or something, you won't be able to advance in that, or maybe you just lose a skill in Hearthstone. You won't be able to get a profit from that anymore. So you need to have a fallback or a primary plan to support you while you're doing that. And the big standouts: Chess Dude, Owl Sky High, and Snail. Just, this was one of the best tournaments that they've had. There just wasn't one or two breakout stars. There was half a dozen Hearthstone players that could easily qualify for BlizzCon, these upcoming tournaments.
Yeah, and I listened to part of Snail's story. It's pretty interesting. He's like, from some remote location in Argentina, he's like, I have like 256 internet. I can't stream. Like the connection is iffy. I lose games to DC and stuff.
Yeah, he has to go to a LAN center to play.
He went. He came through the Tavern Hero thing too, which was the other story about it. So, but overall, I thought it was a high level of play. Definitely, some of the plays that these guys were making were pretty amazing. So it was good to see high level Hearthstone.
If you want to learn how to play Freeze Mage, watch Chess Dude play Freeze Mage, especially his match with WTY Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
Oh my goodness. That was just amazing calculation. He was pinging himself in the face to make sure that they couldn't pop it. I mean, just amazing. But, only Chess Dude and Amnesiac brought Rogue to the tournament, and they both ended up really advancing really far. And if you'll watch their Rogue play, it's so spot on. It's so amazing. It just goes to show that Rogue's not out of it. You just have to. It's a hard deck to really wrap your head around and play at a high level.
I mean, I'd say this: I don't remember seeing a tournament where there were so many, like 2 or 3 turns ahead set up for the lethal to the outs that were left in the deck. Like you could see it unfolding. It was incredible. Like they're seeing this stuff 2 or 3 turns ahead. Like, why did he do that way? Well, it's because he's got these 3 outs and he's just going to get it or not and then just lose. But it would work a lot. So it was really good to see.
In
Yeah.
one of the games, Amnesiac one, he pinged his boom bot for exact lethal, and the caster didn't even notice it until the mouse was going over. They're like, "Wait, that's lethal. If this boom bot hits for minimum damage, it's lethal."
Yep.
And it's just next level. And expect a lot of these names to show up in the spring preliminaries.
Yeah, that
And
was
I
a
think
super.
Chestu can go on.
That was a super complex turn because he was playing Druid, and he ended up having to. I forget the exact order of play, but at one point he had to cast a Keeper and do 2 to the face, and then he had
to
changed
set up
his,
for 2 turns. Yeah.
yeah, and he had to wrath his own doom. He had to wrath his own boombot for the 1 damage to deal the. It was nuts.
Yeah.
It's just
It was
next
crazy.
level. And he was, and most of the time he was getting these complex thoughts out onto the board, and the rope was either just starting and he'd end turn, or he never even would hit the rope. His brain was working so fast. Both Chest Dude and Amnesiac were just so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Amnesiac was the only one that brought that Murloc Paladin too.
Yes,
which
he was.
crazy.
He only got to play it once too. Did you notice it was banned on
Oh,
like
yeah.
every
Once
other-
they figured it out, it was
Which
and
opened
they're
up,
like,
which didn't that open him up for Druid?
Yes.
So
yeah.
I mean, that was a great technique, realizing they can only ban one deck. And when they go, well, I'm gonna blanket ban Druid, and then they see this Paladin. Nobody wants that Paladin. I'll just roll the dice on Druid, and Druid's almost a guaranteed win for most of those. That's why everybody was banning it.
Yep.
Yeah. And we got another chance for some exciting play this weekend as the European Championship is taking place in California. So
Isn't that going? That's not going at the same time as the Heroes of the Dorm, is it?
I believe it is. Yes,
Hmm.
I do believe it is. So you'll have all the heroes in Hearthstone you can handle this weekend. All right, moving along. The last few weeks, you guys have been with us. You noticed we've been playing a eulogy submitted by listener AC about some of the cards that we are losing in due to standard format. And this week, we have another eulogy for you guys, so please enjoy.
Friends, you will have to excuse my voice tonight. Not only does tonight's eulogy sadden me greatly, but I'm fighting a massive cold. Pardon me, dear mourners. Not only are we saddened by the loss of tonight's standard format victim, but we're also quite confused by it. After all, you know the old saying, old mechs never die. They just go to the junk heap. Antique Healbot, tonight as we are running program Cry, we recall the beautiful eyes, the face hunters you rescued us from, the Murloc Inifin paladins you kept alive to turn 10, the Handlock decks you restored to 18 health after they dropped 2 Molten Giants for free. And who can forget those brief, beautiful, halcyon days when, working with Brad Bronzebeard, you put in overtime and healed us for 16. Now that you have gone back to the junk heap you came into our lives from, how will control-oriented players survive against aggression? Must we finally capitulate to the propaganda of the Dark Overlord Reno Jackson? One of's good, two of's bad. Antique Healbot, when we think of how you are gone forever, never to be seen or heard from again, our only thought is of... Healbot?
From the junk heap.
Aha! You're alive! I am so happy that you have survived standard, my friend. But you seem different somehow. Maybe corrupted. But what are you doing? What are in those syringes? Oh. Well, I feel much better now. Thank you. I'd say about 8 health points better, actually. Well then, I guess we can all go home, mourners. Antique Healbot hasn't actually died. I mean, sort of. I'm just saying. I'm personally quite glad Akanai Soul Priest couldn't make it. She had to wash her hair, apparently.
Alright, Corrupted Healbot is replacing Antique Healbot in Standard, and damn Shadow Priests are going to be everywhere. I'm telling you now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is something that I noticed. There wasn't any control priest that I saw at this tournament.
I think there was
was
only
shocked.
one priest in the top 16. They weren't even at that weekend.
They're all on the ladder.
I want to thank AC for submitting. Those are awesome. Every week he's been submitting those, working on those all on his own. We appreciate that. Those are so much fun.
That's a lot of work to put those together. I know. I used to do some things like that. So, yeah, huzzah! That's pretty good.
All right. So we are moving on to our analysis and breakdown this week. So once we confirmed that with Dan and Frid that they were going to be available tonight, Frid sent us a couple of options for a deck to play on tonight's show, and we kind of settled on the SMOrc Warrior. So
SMOrc.
This deck is a lot of fun. So for those of you listening, I'm going to give you the rundown of the deck, and then we're going to let Frid kind of explain how it works. So the deck runs 1 Upgrade, 2 Abusive Sergeant, 2 Leper Gnome, 1 Sir Finley Murgleton, 2 South Sea Deckhands, 2 Fiery War Axe, 2 Heroic Strike, 2 Flame Jugglers, 1 Ironbeak Owl, 2 Loot Hoarders, 1 Bash, 2 Argent Horse Riders, 2 Wolf Riders, 2 Deathspot, 2 Mortal Strike, 2 Korkron Elite, and 2 Arcanite Reapers. So, Frid, why don't you give us a breakdown here?
Sure. So, Warrior, the quintessential control class, because it has its ability to armor up and extend the game so that it can last as long as you want. That's not what we're gonna do here. This is a weapon-based warrior that wants to end the game by turn 5 or 6, if possible. So you will attempt half-heartedly to control the board for like 2 turns, and then you're just gonna start hitting them in the face as hard as you can with everything that you have. That's basically the strategy. A lot of people have a lot of opinions around aggro players in general and just aggro decks, and they consider them these brainless, oh, you're just so lucky because you're going to the face. I happen to defer on that opinion, not just because I'm mostly an aggro player, and not because I don't know how to play control, but because I have a family and a job and all this stuff. So games go by faster when you play more aggressive decks. But there's actually a lot of little decisions that happen that you have to make that can make or break a game very early on. And it's very frustrating when you're like 1 or 2 points away, and you may realize later, whoa, I didn't do something on like turn 2 and lost. So compared to, say, like Secret Paladin or a mid-range Druid, where you're just slamming mid-range card after mid-range card and hoping these guys have the answer, and eventually you'll do the combo or the Mysterious Challenger and just win the game, there's a lot of thought that needs to go into this. Little decisions that need to happen, because you have a limited amount of damage, and if you can't kill him quick enough and the game starts going long, you're not gonna make it. So anyway, it has a lot of weapons. So 2 Fiery War Axe, 2 Death Bites, and 2 Arcanite Reapers. But it also has an upgrade to give you a little bit of more reach. I had a version of this before, and I wrote an article about it on Reddit. And I ran Curse Blade. If you're familiar with Curse Blade, that's the 2/3 for 1 that doubles the damage, right? So what would happen is you play Curse Blade and you get Crackle in the face for 12 on turn 2 via Shaman, and it would never feel good. This new version, I actually got it off of Reddit, and it's a few cards different to the one that I was running, but it does away with the Curse Blade. Part of the theory of the Curse Blade is you want to get to 12 health because it enables Mortal Strike. And Mortal Strike, some people have never even seen this card, so they don't know what it does. Basically, when you get to 12, instead of 4 damage, it does 6. So you'll see people that don't play around it, they just hit you in the face and get you down to 11, and they've actually handed you lethal without you even... they don't even realize it. An experienced player will hold back that last few points of damage and not do it because they know you may be running it. Let me see. The one thing that sucks on an aggro deck is the Warrior's hero power, because it does absolutely nothing. Thankfully, the League of Explorers brought to us her Finley Mergleton that basically fixes our problem. So if you can get him early and replace it, you want to get Hunter, you want to get Warlock, you want to get Mage, and then it starts getting a little muddy there. You know, Paladin.
Druid's not too bad with the weapons.
Druid's not bad. That's right. Maybe Druid. And then, Priest. You're not going to be healing anything because all your stuff has 1 health, mostly. So it doesn't matter. That fixes that problem. So that is one of the things that has enabled this deck, because the Hunter can give you the reach that you need. Or one of the things that it suffers from the most is card draw. This is something that it does not have. So you'll find that's why by turn 5 or 6, you're kind of out of steam. You don't have cards, and you're going to be suffering. Loot Hoarder's here to help you with that, but other than that, it doesn't do that much. So if you can get the Warlock of one of your choices, and that can help you with that as well.
Also helps you get you to 12 faster.
Exactly. Synergizes with that Mortal Strike. So basically, it can output a tremendous amount of damage really quick. Like Arcanite Reaper is crazy, right? 5/2 for 5, that's 10 damage for 5. Over 2 turns, but you can do a lot of damage. So the challenge of the deck is the early board control, and Flame Juggler is here to help you with that. So again, this is one of those situations where if the juggle goes to the wrong spot, it may cost you the game, and it's frustrating. The other thing that is very challenging with it is Taunt, of course. For that, we have our weapons and or the Ironbeak Owl, if we happen to draw it. And there's a tremendous amount of Taunt out there now, from Death Lords that are appearing in every deck in the world, including Hunter, I think. And Doomsayer, too, is making an appearance everywhere. But Belchers, Void Walkers, Defender of Argus, Coghammer is a problem on the Paladin deck. Tyrion, of course. So these are the things that you're saving this guy for. And you're always going to be calculating, okay, how much damage do I have? How much life do we have? Because I need to finish this quick. Let me see. Bash is one questionable card that's here, but it does give you that 3 direct damage that sometimes enables you to finish the game or to clear one of these pesky taunts. There will be situations when on turn 2 you have a heroic strike and you will use it to punch him in the face for 4, which will feel like a really bad play. But if that's all you can do, you better get into damage now. So it will feel kind of weird that way.
I kind of noticed at one point, I was getting to like turn 5 and 6 and having the choice whether to throw a Corcoran Elite out or go ahead and equip a weapon like a Despite or the Arcanite Reaper. I found that it's better to go ahead and do the weapon, get the damage in, so that you can have a large amount of burst the next turn. Does that sound about right to you?
I think it depends. Most of the time, you want the tempo on the board, unless you feel like you may be susceptible to some kind of AoE or some kind of spell that would kill it directly. But if it's empty board, I mean, the minion is going to give you much more tempo if you drop them and just start hitting with it. Because then you'll have to react to it, and then you can do your weapon the next turn. That should be fine.
So
Yeah,
you force him to react instead of playing that.
Gotcha.
That
Right,
other.
but to your point, there is an investment that if you get the weapon in now, then you get it again, plus the
Yeah.
minion.
Because in my situation for that game, I chose the Arcanite Reaper on turn 5, and I had a Corcoran Elite in my hand. I hit him for 5. I drew in on turn 6 into the Heroic Strike. Or
Right.
is it that's the one that gives +4, right?
Yes.
Am I looking at that right? Yeah, Heroic Strike. So I was able to do 13 points of damage because it was 5, and then the 4 for Heroic Strike, and then the 4 for the Corcoran Elite, and it totally caught them off guard, and they lost the game.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's those considerations. If you're going into turn 5, say you're going first, it may be better to equip the Arcanite so that you can respond to, say, the Belcher or something right away, and not have to. Okay, now I have to equip it, and so anyway, there's those considerations. One of the things you can for substitutions, 2 Arcanite Reaper sometimes could be clunky. You can cut it down to 1 and play a Leroy Jenkins. That's your other option. Gives you 6 right away. So that's one way. The other thing that may happen is the Death Smite kills all your stuff. So you're like, I don't want to swing because all my army of weenies here, 1/1s, are just going to die. And you may not want to do that. So you're kind of stuck. Upgrade helps you get another swing, but sometimes that messes up. So you could cut one of those and maybe keep the 2 Arcanites and a Leroy, or maybe an Arcane Golem or something like that, if that's happening to you.
I know I've upgraded a Death Spite, and the opponent immediately conceded because I had a board full of one health minions, and they thought they were going to die. They knew they'd have another turn with them, so they just conceded. I think it was turn 5.
Yeah, it's brutal. And then let's see, the Loot Hoarders, I had been experimenting a little bit with Novice Engineer, just because as a top deck is awful. Like Loot Hoarder, you get it like turn 6, and you're like, ah, crap, this does nothing, right? If you get it early, it's much better than Novice Engineer. But the Novice will draw you the card right away, and it may be the Mortal Strike or whatever it is you're looking for to kind of get the job done. So
you think having a 1 of each would be a possible?
You could try and see what you like better. The other one here instead of the Bash is the Cold Like Oracle. It's another same concept. You're trying to dig for that final little point of damage, and sure, you're going to give him cards, but you really don't care. You're just trying to find that last 5 to kill the guy. So
would you recommend putting in 1 Thalnos instead of the Loot Hoarder for possibly just for the spell damage with the Mortal Strikes?
I played around with some of those in different scenarios, but I've said this before, I don't play enough with any of these to know what's better, and I don't track stats to see, Loot Hoarder did better than Blood Mage or whatever, so it's hard for me to tell, but those are certainly things to experiment with.
So there's a lot of room to kind of customize this deck, is what you're saying. That's really neat. That's what I like about a nice deck, is if you can kind of change 2 or 3 key card or 2 or 3 flex cards in it for other cards and still make it viable depending what you're playing against. That makes a good deck. Yeah.
If you listen to the episode where we cover the other version, you'll see how much fun I have with this, because it's kind of funny. Like, I think people will mulligan for Control or for Patron, and then you start dropping Leper Gnome, and they're like, oh no, what just happened?
What is this?
And then you lose to it and you feel awful. You're like, how did I just lose to this? But it can do a lot of damage.
It's blasphemy, I tell you.
All right, well let's check it out. So If you guys are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you at this time for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast, and you can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOgamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you can help to support and improve it by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. And as always, we'll see you again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Yeah, so like I said before, I'm a big list guy. I like compare and contrast. So, you know, we're in this partnership with ViForce, so I wanted to put the ViForce website to the test. We know it's great. We know that they're great. We've talked to them. So I wanted the numbers to back it up. So I went out, and like I said, my PC is aging. So I really had my eye on the two systems that I felt like I could afford, which was the Vector or the Momentum on their website. Once again, that's ViForceGaming.com. So I took the stats of the Vector and the Momentum, and I compared them, first going out to our local place of business, and I won't say the name on the air, but I went there, had the stats in hand, went in, and I went to look and see what I could get, same stats, what price it was there and what price it was on the site. So I went in, and for the Vector, the closest thing that I found to the Vector, that after adding the video card, because it didn't actually come with a video card in the store, the closest thing that I found was $649 minus the video card, which is going to add you at least another $100, and that's for a low-end video card. The Vector actually has a better card. So the Vector, if you're looking for an entry-level gaming PC, is by far the best that I saw as far as going to a retailer. Online, it was a little bit, it was just a little bit easier to find, but it still ended up, by the time that I built it, the way that I wanted it and the way that they have it built on the site, it was still a little more expensive, coming in at $659 plus shipping. So the Momentum, that's the one I really had my eye on. So it's $850 on the website. Went out and looked. The closest computer that I saw in our box retailer was almost $1,100 by the time you match the Momentum site. So $850 compared to $1,100, that's a pretty big swing. So I went online, tried to build it online, and based on what I could find online and the available parts, time to add in tax and shipping and all that, I came out to almost $970, which is $120 more than what they've got it listed for on the website. Now, on the website, it's $850 plus shipping, but I added tax and shipping into the other. It took me over $1,000. So, guys, it's not only is it great systems, they're at a great price, and like we said last episode, they'll walk you through the process of building it. They'll find out what you need, find out your budget, and then they will point you in the direction of the right console or the right PC for you. And take advantage, get on their website, ViForceGaming.com, take a look at what they have to offer, and if you doubt me, put them to the test yourself. Go out, take the stats, see what you find out.
All right, guys. So, Fred, you ready to rock this SMOrc deck?
Let's do it. Dan,
Right.
are you?
Hey, I'll add color commentary.
Hey, that's my job.
All right, let's go
Well,
up here.
No, that's fine. You got it tonight. It's all you.
Well,
They've heard
I
me.
guess we'll just try not to derail it too much.
All right. Spectating Fred.
All right, we got a druid here, Dan.
Imagine that.
Surprise, huh?
So your opening hand here is a Flame Juggler, an Abusive Sergeant, and an Argent Horse Rider. What are you looking for in a mulligan or a starting hand?
So you won 1-drops for sure. You need to have something on the board on turn 1. So the preferred ones are Finley and Leopardome. upgrade in a pinch would do, but generally you don't want to do that. South Sea, you can do that too. This is not bad. I almost want to keep the whole thing because if I pitch the Sergeant, I mean, I'll get a 1-drop, and I'm okay dropping it as a 2/1, just naked, rather than sending this back and not getting a 1-drop. So I'm just going to keep all this. A weapon would be nice too, but sometimes I pitch this and get like Arcanite Reaper and Mortal Strike, so let's not press our luck here.
Okay. Top decking a second Flame Juggler.
Yeah, the only problem with if I do this, which I may still do, is it gives away our strategy right away.
Yeah.
But we'll do it.
All right. So play first turn Abusive Sergeant.
Yes. Hopefully he does nothing, but druids have a lot of stuff now, so he's coining out a hero power. That's good. This messes with if he wanted to wild growth, if he wanted to do wrath, whatever he wanted to do. This kind of messes with it. So we're gonna play the juggler here and just keep chipping in. There's the wild growth, so he did have it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really good. We're gonna go ahead and play the Horse Rider. And just one-way traffic to the face.
Face is the place.
So Swipe is not even that good. A Keeper is not that great. Shredder will probably be his best place, which I will ignore. Some kind of Druid of the Claw. He can't do it just yet because he used the coin. So he did play. He went with the Shredder. Okay, so here's that Zerogio question about weapon versus Korkron.
Yeah, we drew that Korkron Elite, so here's the question.
So his turn 5 is going to be a Belcher or a Druid of the Claw. So I would probably rather have the Death's Bite already primed to do 5.
And we don't have a bunch of 2/1s on the board. We just have a 2/3 and a shielded 2/1.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm gonna ignore the Shredder, by the way.
Okay.
All right, and we're saving the bash here for direct damage to the face, right? Instead of just bashing the
or to clear a taunt. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think the Korkron is also vulnerable to Swipe. So anyway, let's just go face here.
Yeah, so we went face all the way, and that's going to force him to clear, right?
Yeah,
and he's at 16 now. It's just great at turn 4.
There's the Harrison.
I almost mentioned that fact that it doesn't play around Harrison, but the other thing that it did is it killed his Shredder.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would be at 2 health, whether I swung with it or he killed it like this. All right, so we drew a Fiery War Axe, and there's a Mana Wraith, which makes things cost 1 more.
But it also does that for him, too, so it's going to slow his tempo down unless he clears it.
He's going to trade it, yeah. But
yeah.
I think we play the Korkron and keep going upstairs. If he happens to... He could swipe us. That would be a little bad. But we're just going to trust that we're going to draw what we need here. Right. He plays the Druid of the Claw now. We have Bash in the weapon. So there's that. And then he would have to clear this somehow. But he drew the swipe, I think, off the top.
That's what it looked like to me, too. It came all the way from the right.
Yeah. So he's going to... swipe our Korkron. Did he not attack?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
All right, so we're at 22-7. We have a Wolf Rider and a Fiery War Axe. That is 6 damage. We have the Bash.
He's way from combo. Even if he armors up, we're setting up for lethal next turn.
He could have Innervate, I suppose, but...
yeah.
It's not like we're going to be playing around any of this now. We're just going face. We set them to 5. We're a little short here. We could be that to innervate combo, but that's 7 cards.
There's
so-
the Belcher.
There's the Belcher. Yep.
Yeah, so
We
he
could
traded.
use the Iron Beak here.
Yeah, so he traded the Mana Wraith into.
Traded the mana.
Top
Earth
decking the
Power.
hoot hoot.
I do it every week. I call it top
Boy,
deck.
that doesn't get any nicer than that.
Right. So we silence the Belcher. Go to
That's
face
just for
with
show.
Yeah. Go to face with the
Adam.
weapon and bash for the
Nice.
win.
So it's a little bit of a leap of faith that the deck is going to provide you with what you need. Dan's
Well,
been.
I don't
he
call
was a
top
little
decks
lucky. He was a little lucky to have the Harrison in his hand anyway. So
Yeah, and then the swipe off the top.
yeah.
Yeah, Matt at Arms in our chat room says that top deck though.
That's
Woo!
What do you mean top deck? It's all designed this way.
That's right. It's all by design. We had a few outs, but yeah, that was definitely our easiest out.
I don't know. Y'all are fixing to bear witness to some of his psychic abilities, probably. It's uncanny sometimes.
Another druid. What a surprise.
I faced 5 tempo mages in a row last night with this deck.
Okay, so the hand here is a little clunkier because we don't have a 1-drop.
Do you still keep the 2 and 3 and just ditch one of the 3 drops?
Okay, give me
I'm
just
thinking
a second, guys.
I'm thinking about ditching both here because
Since you don't have coin?
yeah, and I don't have a 1-drop. You saw how that silly abusive just that 2 damage got us the lethal.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, I want to get the +2, blah blah blah. No, you just got to get something on the board. So
He still equates
right.
to 2 points of damage, no matter which way you look at it.
yes. All right. So I sent back the 3 drops and didn't get one. So happens sometimes.
So we got a
One more
Loot Order, a
chance.
Flame Juggler, and it got our Wolf Rider back.
And on our first turn draw, got the hoot hoot, the owl. So that's good to keep in hand just in case.
He's starting to coin stuff and innervate stuff. It's a bad sign.
Oh yeah, this is never good. Oh,
Turn 1 shredder.
Well, there we go. So
do we
in
clear
this
it?
case,
Absolutely.
yeah, we have to clear that. We'll die before we can.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could take a turn, like hit him in the face, then owl and get cute. But
Well, I mean, look at it this way. He spent 3 cards getting that on the board. We're going to clear it with 1, and it gets us closer to 12 health.
True.
and
I
we
think-
go ahead, Fred.
no, I think in this case, you know how I said we pseudo control the board for at least 1 or 2 turns, and with the weapon is the preferred way. So, because on any other play, it's just bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be that fiery war axe we just drew on the start of this turn. So
Is there a reason not to go to the face and then use the owl next turn on it? And
Oh,
Tempo.
look at that. Yeah, you could try to do that, but you're gonna take 4 and then 8, and it.
Right.
Alright, so
And then you also have to worry about the Druid of the Claw taunt and the Sludge Belcher, since the owl is the only way to clear a taunt out of the way without using your face.
Draw
Alright,
a
so here-
bash. Do we go for a lucky flame juggle here?
So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think we play the Wolf Rider because, I mean, 1 point of damage anyway. It's not like
Trades
it's killing
evenly.
something big. Yeah, it's the same. So, I mean, I
So-
could try to blow him out with the Juggler, but that's not.
Would you want
Sorry.
to develop the loot hoarder here to draw another card?
No, I'd do that next turn with the 2/2 drops, I guess.
Okay.
And
Yes.
if he uses his hero power to kill the Wolf Rider, we get double value out of it.
Yeah,
Sure.
but now the secret's gonna be out.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Up to this point, he doesn't know what we are, but this will give it
Well,
away.
whenever you play this deck by turn 3, they're going to have a pretty good clue as to what you're playing. If
I
they
mean-
don't, you're having a really bad draw.
Maybe. A lot of people don't even know Aggro Warrior is a thing. So
Yeah.
Oh, he wrathed our Wolf Rider.
He
All
could
right,
be
so
like,
up it to
what
wrath.
is this?
That's fine.
Oh, that's a good
Ooh, I
draw.
like that.
So now we're gonna juggle it first. Let's see what happens. What do you guys think?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
gonna
juggle.
hit him.
Yeah,
It's gonna
yeah.
hit him.
Feeling
it won't
lucky,
go
man.
face.
Do it. Like yesterday, we're feeling lucky.
All right, it goes. Juggle
Patient
goes.
assassin. Bam.
Nope.
Oh!
Oh, went to the face.
It's my fault, guys. My fault.
See all that
I'm gonna play-
negativity over there.
I'm gonna play the loot hoarder and
Okay.
just pass. The reason I'm not gonna activate the weapon is because I have the South Sea for next turn.
Okay.
So you can charge in.
Yeah, but now he can take out our 3 health guy who missed. He is blind.
Yeah. That's the way all my jugglers are.
They go to the face. Well, he knows the plan, so that's a good sign.
It's funny, I was playing a rag the other day, and there were like 5 minions on the board. He had to hit me with all 5 to win. I'm like, all right, rag, you got a 5. You got a 5 and 1 of
He's
hitting
hero
something I
powering.
need you to.
Here and wild growth. That's a good sign. He's taking some damage. I'm
Yeah.
fine with
Yeah,
that.
he's gonna suck that up. That's good. He took out the loot hoarder.
Oh,
Ooh.
This is good.
abusive sergeant.
That's oh!
Oh.
It's a double.
And we can
Yeah.
hero power just for a little measure.
So we're gonna haha.
So
Gonna
South
use
Sea, deckhand, abusive sergeant.
You know what
Yeah.
mistake not to make, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Always attack with the South Sea first.
Oh
Yes.
man, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many attacks I have messed up not attacking with the South Sea deck.
Same
So
here,
now-
Dad. Same here.
so now if he wanted to develop like a creature, he's gonna be compelled to swipe this because it's a lot of pressure. So that slows him down quite a bit, and hopefully we'll draw into something useful because this owl is not very useful at the moment.
Yeah.
The best we want him to do is use all his mana for a taunt.
That
He-
too.
he-
We
I was going
played
to say, he may not
Stratus.
have a
That
swipe.
too.
That's good.
That's very
I don't-
good.
I don't care about that. He's gonna tank to 2 more.
Yeah. In a sense, it's only 1 damage, but still. Corcoran.
Oh, nice.
Well, do we
So
even
do-
bother with this shredder? I'm thinking.
I'm thinking we trade face with the shredder and then send the Corcron and the South Sea and the abusive sergeant to his face.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we could. I'd hate to Iron Beak that and then him throw down a taunt. So
No, we're not gonna. We're gonna save the owl.
Aw,
I think.
don't feel like living dangerously.
We want to see what's in it first. Let me see. Do I even care? 7 and 4 is how much?
So if we
7.
just took
I
everything
mean,
to
that's
face, that's 11. That puts him
11
at
to
8.
face if we go all in, but that doesn't really leave us an option if he draws a
Let's see.
swipe.
Let's take this down and
Yeah.
see what comes out of it.
Maybe something with 2 health.
So
Oh,
face to shredder. Oh, well, that's not
I'm just
good.
gonna go face,
Yeah.
face. This is fine. He's gonna heal for how much does it give him? 3.
2,
Okay.
3.
3, yeah.
It isn't a savage roar consideration, but whatever. He has shown me he doesn't have swipe, so that's.
Do you
a
ever
good-
think that maybe popping it
He's-
with the 0-2 to hope that maybe the well gets a heal would be worth it?
Yeah, he's fishing for the swipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had to use the wrath to clear it. So he's all out of wrath.
This is 4. Yeah, that I've done that before, where you pop it with one of these, but this sucks.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we can bash it with a 2 and then hit it with a 2-1 to clear it to
You mean
guarantee
the
no heal.
the Drake.
I'm talking about bashing the 0-5 so he doesn't get the heal value. And then hit it with the 2-1, which isn't going to kill it, so it'll still be alive.
I could get rid of the Drake too.
Could. I just worry about him getting too much heal value.
Yeah, this is bad. I'm gonna kill the Drake and
Okay. Do you
I'm not
use
gonna-
the upgrade to finish off the Drake?
Yeah, not gonna get much out of. Let's pop this, go there. I don't know.
If you pop it, that means you get a 50-50 chance that it heals
Yeah.
itself instead of him.
It did. That was a good call. I've done that before.
That just raises lowers the chance that he gets the 3 points of healing.
But it healed itself, so that was a good call.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, it's a coin flip. Coin flip's better than knowing it's going to land on something you don't want.
There's the Emperor that we're afraid of, but that he wanted to develop. He doesn't have a swipe, I guess. I don't think anything is lethal here, unfortunately.
I worry if he. Oh.
8, 9.
That's 9.
So maybe going face would have been correct.
Well, he would have healed for 3, so he would have been at 12 now instead of 11.
Yes, I'm just gonna poke here. Let me see. We have 8 mana. No reason to use the Mortal Strike now. We may just die straight off. Let's see. 23.
Yeah, if he doesn't have swipe, he probably has at least a combo.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we were.
We didn't get a lot of really good draws.
Yeah, at the end it kind of fizzled. I'm expecting the combo to come here and kill us. Oh, and he healed his face this time. Yeah, he's coming from the left. That's like Force of Nature, Savage Roar.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
no,
there's
there's
not.
Drake.
He's digging.
Not yet. It's not yet.
He's digging.
And that light well was probably one of the worst things that could have popped out of that shredder.
Yeah, I mean, we could have killed it, but he's healed for 6 up to this point. And that's 5, so he's net gotten 1 value. It's not incredible, but because I would have had to sink 5 damage into it, so he's netted 1+. So he should be at 11, but no.
So it's not that much of a difference.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
Well, we've also put 3 into it.
Yeah, I guess we put 3 into it, right? So.
Yeah.
So he's netted 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
this ain't good.
Yeah, I think that's it. There's no way we could get through all this.
I don't think so.
Oh, there's the horse rider. And that's probably more than enough. So. Yeah, that light well, we sunk how much into it?
We sunk at least 4 into it.
Yeah, we sunk 4
3.
points of damage into it.
So maybe killing it right away would have been the better.
Yeah.
I
Or
think I
even
had
silencing it.
Yeah, I had an
Just a waste of
opportunity
silence.
at one point to do it, I believe. He doesn't have it still? What? You kidding me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just
He was just making
Oh,
room.
he was
Bots.
making room. That's what it was. Yeah, he was making room.
I was like, what is taking so long?
A 1 mana Savage Roar.
Yeah.
All right. We customarily do 3 games on our show.
Yeah,
That's fine.
we
So-
try to.
Yeah. So
One
we're
more?
1-1.
Yeah. That light well, maybe we should have taken it out in retrospect and set us back a turn. I think there was an opportunity at some point to do it.
That's usually not something you plan for against druids, so that's a curveball you don't expect. Oh no.
Is it your tempo mage or freeze mage? Either one could be
Tempo.
problematic.
Well, I've had a little luck against Freeze Mage, but Tempo Mage, because I'm fast enough for it. Tempo Mage is just horrible. The good thing about Freeze Mage is they're not really very equipped to handle charge minions.
Yeah, I was thinking about keeping the cork run here, but I may be too greedy. So I'm just gonna keep the Finley and send everything back.
That sounds good.
We're looking for the important stuff that we haven't drawn is Fiery War Axe. We did in the Druid game, but Arcanite Reaper, we haven't seen that.
Yep. We got a
That's
Fiery
right.
War Axe, though, on the mulligan, so that's good.
And we got a Death Spite.
Yep. So
So Murgleton
Got-
gives us heal, life tap, or fire blast for the mage power.
So you're saying Life Tap is the preferred
Yes.
hero power of choice, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for the follow, Croven Blaze.
Hey,
He-
Croven. He's
Yeah.
he's a listener of our show.
He actually followed us on Twitter today after you tweeted about our show. So thanks for the Twitter follow today also, Croven.
So he pinged here. That means to me this is Freeze Mage.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
It's a race.
Just face it up.
The race is
Yeah.
on.
I was gonna play this, but I'll do it next turn with this and do 7, 9,
Yeah.
10.
That's some damage.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I do something else. Oh,
Well, that's
You
a
could
good.
be.
It's
Yeah.
a good use for the coin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Coin.
you could heroic strike, South Sea, coin, and abusive.
and then we go Death Bite.
Yep.
Next turn.
And on turn 4, yeah. Making sure to attack with the South Sea first before our weapon.
Yes.
Yeah, don't pull it Dan.
You don't want me to do the Dan? I guess do we need to get this in now? I suppose, right?
I would
Yeah.
if it's freeze before he has a chance to freeze our face.
So he needs some kind of stall here to stop this bleeding. We'll see.
Yeah. So what, we put him at 14?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's at 14 now. We've got a Death Bite in hand.
Oh, wait a minute. This is
Oh.
not freeze.
No, I saw the arcane intellect, and that looked like
Oh, wow.
tempo
This
to me.
is
Here
not.
comes tempo.
That's
Yep.
okay.
This actually, Arcane Blast in tempo, isn't that normally just ran in Rena?
No, that it's been
Reno
teched
and
into all
Malagas?
the tempo now.
Okay.
Oh, and we
So
got
we
the upgrade for next turn.
Yeah, we
Yep.
can freeze our face probably, right?
That's probably what he. Well, maybe not.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always. Well, you know. He has another one, right? That's it?
Yeah, he's only got one more Frostbolt.
Yeah, they don't run Ice Lance, I don't believe.
Do we tap here for something?
I'd say we tap to see if we can get a
Yeah.
Wolf Rider or
At first.
Horse Rider?
Deckhand's good.
Yeah.
that
there
can
you go.
works.
Yep. And we can play the Flame Juggler too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope it goes to face.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
it's
want
the face.
face.
Face,
I
face.
still want face.
Oh. All right, but we've got him at 8. Now he's got to
I mean-
clear here.
Yeah, the challenge is another Frostbolt, but I mean, what are the odds? Well, depends. If it's Fritz luck,
I don't
he
know,
has-
man. I'm watching,
Oh,
so
there's the Flame
I've-
Wake.
Yeah, I've never had good luck against Tempo Mage with this deck so far.
So he everything to the minions, of course, because it's. Oh no, a taunt.
Oh,
Oh,
we've
he
got
was
the,
smart.
we've
We have
got
the owl.
the owl.
Yeah,
for
we're
that.
good. But let's see, where are we at? That's
See, I'm hoping he decides not to clear them, thinking we're going to go. See, I was hoping he'd think we would use a Death Bite and kill our own 2/1s.
this is okay.
That's good. That's 5.
That's
lethal.
Yeah, it's lethal. We got him.
Yeah, the mana.
Don't need to
No,
put-
no, it's not lethal. It's not lethal.
Oh,
We don't have enough mana.
We don't have. No, it still is. We don't
Yeah,
have
it
to use
is
the
lethal.
upgrade.
it is lethal.
We don't have to
It
use
is
the upgrade.
lethal.
Oh, that's right.
My
Guys,
bad.
you're giving me a panic attack.
I'm
here.
sorry.
that's
I was
my
thinking
job.
we had to use the upgrade for lethal.
I'm
and
the
we
only
did.
one that's supposed to make Frid panic.
Okay. 5 voices. It's lethal. It's not lethal. It's lethal. It's not lethal.
I was like, I saw lethal. No, it's not. Wait, what?
I was wrong.
That's a lot. That's what happens a lot of times when you have 5 people talking about what's going on. So
Or 1 Zoroshio, because I am perpetually wrong.
So you know what? I'm thinking about that druid game. Maybe we don't even trade into Shredder. We just I don't know, because if that's the case, before we know it, we'll be dead. Because
Well,
we'll be
and-
taking
And Matt at Arms in our chat said, maybe we could have bashed the shredder and then weapon the drop, or of course we didn't anticipate the 05 Lotwell, so.
Did we have the bash? Because it was turn 1.
No, we didn't. That was the second shredder.
Oh, okay, that must have been the second shredder game. Okay.
The first shredder we didn't. I think we had a total of 4 damage on the board, and the shredder is 4 damage. He's either going to trade into our creatures, which we're going to keep going to face, or he's going to trade to our face, which is an equal value to what we have on the board. So I think we probably could have left it alive.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where it probably went south, because you have a finite amount of damage. We had the owl and all this stuff, so I think that's where I messed up.
And what's great, what I love about this deck is there's more than one way to skin a cat. And even in our chat room, we got Matt at Arms saying you trade into the shredder, and then Humda says don't kill the shredder. So honestly, both ways could win. I think what really lost us that was the Lightwell.
Yeah, probably. We should have taken it out. I didn't consider it, but that repetitive, and then do I sink 5 into it to prevent 3?
Yeah.
Probably because it keeps my stuff on the board. It just gains him a little bit of time. He actually never drew the swipe until later, or did he never draw it? I don't think this guy did.
We never saw a swipe.
Yeah.
Nor did we see a taunt.
So we could have safely done that, and probably... Well, and the taunt, we had the owl. So anyway, we make subpar plays every now and then. But as you can see, games are fast, are furious, and fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we always do a last thing to be said. Zeroshio, what do you have for us this week?
I want to go back, and I know I harp on this a lot. We have one of the best communities in the Hearthstone podcast community. Our show is such a small part of it. HearthCoach, Legend of the Innkeeper, A Worthy Opponent. All of these shows, Well Met. I go on forever. All these shows have great podcasters. They have great personalities. They have great communities that come together in different forums. And we're hoping to continue having other shows and other podcasters from the Hearthstone community on our show to kind of bring us all together. And I want to thank Dan and FRID. Big shout out to you guys for coming on the show and agreeing to have fun with us tonight.
Oh, well, thanks for having us. It's been a large time.
Rasika, last thoughts?
I had an awesome time here. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Good. Well, and I just want to reiterate a little bit of what Zeroshio just said. Thank you guys for agreeing to come on. FRID, you've had a lot of success in the Hearthstone community. So, in the game, you've played in tournaments that a lot of us are still striving to feel like we're good enough to even try out for. So, thank you for coming on and lending your expertise. I wanted to thank Sam for sending in the email. I want to thank Concealed for giving us our review. Thank you guys for watching the show and interacting with us and asking questions and, keeping us going. And one more thing, and I wrote about this today in my blog post. Just over the course of the next few weeks, try not to be too critical about things that we don't necessarily know everything about, but don't also keep people from getting excited by saying you don't know what other cards are in the set. This is a great time to be excited. We've got 2 expansions coming out this year. We've got an adventure coming out this year. It's okay to be excited. It's okay to see a card and say, wow, I think that's awesome, and start thinking about crazy combos with it. And, just enjoy being a player. You don't always have to be a critic. And don't let other people lead you down that path. Just be excited and be happy to be excited. This is a great game. It's a fun game. And they're not going to do something that they feel are just going to grind it into the ground. The changes that are coming, they've been thought about. They've been looked over. There's other things way out that we don't even know that they're having to plan for now. So, give them the benefit of the doubt. Sit back and enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. Dan, you have any last thoughts?
My last thoughts. I'll kind of, again, I'm going to kind of reiterate the path we're going down here. With the new expansion coming out, I like the positivity, the overall the Hearthstone community in general. Your show and our show, we try and keep it upbeat and whatnot, even in the face of a game not going so well. We still manage to laugh it off and have a good time. And remember, that's what it's about. Is we're here to to have fun. And I'm not too worried about what Blizzard has coming with the game. I'm reasonably confident they're not going to mess it up. So yeah, everybody relax and then just enjoy what's coming out.
All right, Fred.
Well, I think we talked enough about what's coming, so I just want to say thank you guys. Like I said, this was Dan's thing of creating this show. I'm just happy to be a part of it, and I've learned so much about what it takes to be a podcaster and what it takes to do videos now and all this stuff. So it's been a great experience beyond just playing a lot of Hearthstone. And the community has been great. We're lucky to be able to do this as a hobby, and the fact that it helps people out there is just kind of gravy. So thank you guys for doing this. Thank you for having us, and hopefully we'll get to do it again sometime. So I'm sure you would like to have some wacky deck that I can bring.
Definitely.
Oh,
Some other
absolutely.
time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We absolutely want to do this again.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you guys again for being part of our 20th episode. Can't believe it's been 20 already for us. It seems like we just started, but it's a blast and we love doing it. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Do us a favor, please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you have not done so already, or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted as to when we go live. Also, remember to check out our Patreon, because once we hit our first milestone, we will start giving away a $20 a month prize to one lucky patron who backs us. For more details on that, check out patreon.com/heropower. And as always, guys, until next time, good gaming.
Have fun, guys.